Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, we are live for Fighters Rep Podcast, episode 28, the Fighters Rep 22 official post-fight recap with the man, Ignorant Behavior, my boy Gary. Gary, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing, man? Long trip, man.
Man, it's a long flight. It's a shorter flight back, believe it or not. I think it's because of the winds or whatever. It's always an hour quicker on the way back, but it was tiring, but it was worth it, man. It was worth it. It was a
Look
fun
great,
event.
man. Look great.
Thank you, man. And for those of you that don't know, Gary was running the live chat during the event. So if you saw any grammatical or spelling errors that you didn't understand, you can yell at him about that and the Miami-Dade County public school system.
Hey, I'm good at math and science. I ain't good at English. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But he did a great job. In all seriousness, he did a great job running the live stream. We appreciate you very much, Gary, contributing to the Fighters Rep experience and to the sport of kickboxing, and helping us make this thing a little bit more official for these guys. What did you think? I know you were helping us run the live chat and everything during the broadcast. What did you think of the event from what you saw?
Well, first of all, I want to say, you my boy, Blue. I did it for you. But you never watch Old School?
No.
You never seen Old School?
Maybe. I don't remember anything anymore.
With Will Ferrell and all that?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
You didn't get it, then. You didn't get the joke, then.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still on LA time.
Nah, what I was gonna say is, man. I had never watched it live. Always when you've done your fights before, I go back and I look at them later on, but it's a different experience watching it live. And hopefully next time you do one down here, I can be there to actually be there in person. But I mean, I thought all the fights was awesome, man. The card was like, it wasn't no sleeper, no fights where you were sleeping. You were like, I'll go to concession stand, or I'll go do whatever I'm doing at home if I'm watching live stream. It was like, no, it was nonstop action. It was good. It was, I enjoyed it. I probably enjoyed it more than watching the undercards of some of these other fights, because it was just that much action and just that much more exciting,
Yeah. Our undercards, our whole card tends to be very, we try to put the best talent we could find against each other, and we try to make it about the fights, and the fights are exciting, and of course we make it about the fighters too. We do a lot, as you know, interviews and videos and documentaries and all kinds of stuff, for these guys, to try to put them out there and let the world know how great our strikers are on the East Coast and the West Coast of the United States. We got some studs, so we're just trying to put them out there. It's a lot of work, but I do believe, like, you put the best guys against each other and the best girls against each other, you're going to get the best performance. It's kind of the opposite of that boxing formula where they're just trying to build this guy up. I don't do that. And I think it adds to the legitimacy, right? Because, and we'll go over it, but you look at a guy, for instance, like Milshawn Lathan, right? You look at a guy like who's undefeated. You look at a guy like Jason Gator Granado, who's undefeated. You look at a guy like David Death Dealer Marquez, who, even though he's not undefeated, he's surging.
That was a good fight,
bro. He's surging just like these guys are. You look like Hamza Trad, who's also surging, and it adds legitimacy to your record when you're in the Lions Den. I'm going to toot our own horn a little bit here when you're in the Lions Den, because me and Hung are not looking to put you in there soft. We're looking to put you in there against someone that can beat you. Every fight at Fighters Rep, we're trying to find somebody that's as close of a match to you as possible, so that when you do win and you do go undefeated for a few fights, or you win a few fights in a row, it's that much more impressive. You've actually earned that championship, right?
And one thing I will say is that, unlike the fights now, people, it's like you get your old gone, you lose. You'll
Yeah.
throw them right back in there in the fire
Yeah.
into another big fight. It's like, bro, you lost it. It happens, especially
Right.
at this. You know what happens? Hey, you still a dog, man. Go in there and fight again. And it ain't like you give up on them. Like like nowadays it's like they throw you away. You lose one fight or two
Yeah, it's
fights or
crazy.
whatever.
That's
Nah,
crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know how you expect to advance the sport, and that's why I think UFC is kind of like done so well and kind of surpassed boxing in a lot of ways is in such a short amount of time is because they'll have these guys win, lose or draw. They're still they're still getting respect. They're still getting fights. They have a chance to come back and get better. And I don't
yeah,
know. I always thought that's what fighting was about. Like you get knocked down, you get back up. It's not about creating this fake manufactured record and being undefeated against tomato cans. You know what I mean? So, I
yeah.
don't know. And I think another thing that that shows that culture, right, that we're building is you look at these champs, right? And I promise we're gonna get into it a little bit here, guys. So I promise we're gonna get into it fight by fight. We're gonna go through all the fights. But you look at the champs, Gary, you look at Death Dealer Marquez, you look at Lathan, you look at Trod, you look at Granado. Now you look at Connie. We'll see how she does. But you look at these guys. As soon as they get that strap around them, man, they turn it up, man. They're just different now. Now they just feel like they really believe. It's the credibility. They really believe I'm that guy or I'm that girl, and you're just not gonna beat me. You just
Yeah.
can't beat me, and not in this sport. Maybe put me in MMA. I don't know. Maybe put me in football. I don't know. But you come into this Lions Den with me, this kickboxing rule set, you're not gonna beat me.
Yeah, nah. I mean, it was a good night. I'll put it to you like that.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. So let's go through it, right? So let's go through it. Before we go through it, again, I'm just going to ask everyone, please subscribe to the channel. Join the channel. That's the way you're going to help us continue to build this promotion because, Gary, as you know, I come out of pocket, and we didn't have a single sponsor for this last very successful event. So I come out of pocket for this. So anyone that wants to help, you do so by joining the channel or you do so by sponsoring. And I'm happy to share it with the fighters if I can. If you want to sponsor a fighter, reach out to me. So join the channel, subscribe, like the video. So first and foremost, to start off the night, Gary, it was a little dark. There was a little problem with the lighting at the Commerce Casino.
We got it fixed.
Fixed, though. We got it fixed. It was Aaron Hot Water Faucet versus Ignacio Espinosa. I want to say his nickname was the Pistolero or something like that. Great fight. Ignacio out of Manny Mancha Kickboxing, Gary, a guy who fought for glory. Manny Mancha is a real beast and has created some real monsters and brought them down to the Lions Den. And then we've got, of course, Aaron Fawcett, very high level, kid out of Andrade Muay Thai. I really like this kid. He came up short against our champ, Hamza Trod, in the past, but here he was again. And a good fight until I felt like, Fawcett in the last round got that standing 8 count, man, just, started putting the pressure on, landed a couple of nice shots with his boxing, got the standing 8 count, was able to get the dub, pull away at the end. What did you think?
Nah, I thought the right person won. It was an exciting fight from beginning to end. Both guys were competitive. He just, I felt like he had more in the tank as the fight went along, and he adjusted more.
No.
And and to me, that's the story of the night. To be honest with you, with a lot of these fights, I felt like as the fights went along, you start seeing guys separate, or even if it was still close, somebody got that extra. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we got Isaac Free Smoke McCary in here. Says, let's go. Tuning in for this one. Fighters Rep 22 was sick. Appreciate you, Free Smoke. He actually brought 2 fighters out from Vegas and was cornering them for this card. And, we're looking forward to having him back in the Lions Den as well. He's a great fighter himself. So appreciate you there, Free Smoke. But, yeah, I felt like Fawcett, I'm sure he wanted that win after, coming up just shy in his debut in the Lions Den. But, he's got good experience. And And, I knew this would be a great fight. That's why I made it the first fight. I figured this would be a banger. These guys have, good skills. And they showed that, and I think Ignacio, even though he came up short, he'll look back. He'll watch this fight and see what he can do better, because he was right there for those first couple rounds. In fact, he was right there until Fawcett put that hot water on him in that third round and got the I got the standing 8. So shout out to them. Hopefully we'll see them again soon.
Now, Fawcett, I did actually. I said hot water. Fawcett. I thought that was the name. Then I realized the last name was Fawcett, and it was hot water. So it was a clever play on hot water Fawcett. I was like, hot water. That was he came up with, but I get it. It's a good name. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Next up, we had Louis Gonzalez out of USKO taking on Tommy Huensavath. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Tommy versus Louis. Tommy out of Evolution. Great team with Joe Davidson out there, and then of course we have Joey Pagliano from USKO. Another great team as well. This was a really close fight. It was a really contested fight. These guys were just going at it the whole time. I felt like Tommy was trying to show ring generalship by like moving back and moving off to the side and trying to walk a very aggressive Louis Gonzalez into shots. And then Louis was kind of the aggressor moving forward the whole time. I thought it was a very close fight. Tommy gets the decision, but a lot of people thought this was a good fight and a close fight, and it was a good performance by both guys.
I mean, I think it all depends on how you look at things and I think in fighting it's subjective. Like if you look at the guy stalking somebody and who landed the most shots, who landed the more effective shots and things of that nature. So I like the ring generalship.
Yeah.
And I like you know me. I like the person who's even though he's backing up or he's moving and he's still controlling it. He's controlling the distance.
Yeah.
He's controlling it. And so I agree. I agree with I agree with who won that fight too.
Yeah.
It was close, like you said, and that's the crazy part is a lot of these fights were like super competitive. Even though you may see something like a first round out of there, they were going at it.
Yeah. It's true. And that's Gary, and that's why I think kickboxing is so special. And I think at some point it's gonna catch on fire here in the United States, especially because this is what people want to see. They want to see people stand and bang and reach, dig deep and go after it. And, it's that guy who lands that shot first, or that guy who lands that kick first, or whatever it is. And for sure. And, and I agreed with the decision as well, but I agree with you too in that, some people like the aggressor more. But, me and you are the same kind of cut from the same cloth, that we like to see that movement. We like to see that ring generalship, that mastery of space and stuff like that. So shout out to both of them. Hope to see them back in the lines then soon. Fight number 3, Gary. This is one I was very, very excited about, man. 170 pounds, cut down to 170 pounds. Two big guys.
Big guys.
Strong, explosive guys. Majali Gay out of Bangkok style Muay Thai taking on Michael Gutierrez out of G-Fit. Man, Gary, this was another one that was just a banger. They were just going at it first couple rounds. I felt like it was very competitive. I felt like Majali, was showing big power when he landed his strikes. I felt like his kicks were strong, very, very strong, and you could hear them reverberate throughout the arena, Gary. When they would connect to the body of Gutierrez. But Gutierrez boxing was really nice. He was catching Majali a little bit in between punches. Also doing a good job offensively. It was kind of a matter of who was going to land that big shot first in this fight, and in the third round, I felt like Majali finally kind of separated himself. It kind of goes to what you were saying. Majali separated himself as the fight went on, and in the third round, man, landed some beautiful combinations, hurt Gutierrez, landed a big kick, and basically got him out of there, man. They had to stop the fight. Gutierrez wanted to keep going, but his body just had betrayed him. He had just gotten hit with too big of a shot, and the referee stopped the fight. But great fight.
I mean, I thought I'm trying to keep all the names in my head, but I believe it was Majali Gay is the one who won, right?
Yeah.
That fight, yeah. So I know exactly what fight we're talking about. Just want to make sure I get the names right.
Yeah.
So I thought he lost the first round. And then I thought round 2 and 3, it's almost even the end of round 1. I felt like he started to figure some things out.
Yeah.
And he started to cook a little bit more. And then in round 2, I felt he won round 2, and then round 3 he closed the show.
Yeah.
And I mean he was impressive. I mean, he earned I remember his name, like, Majali Gay, because I'm like, whoa, that dude's is good right there. Like, hey, that dude's coming. Like, he figured it. He impressed me he impressed me a lot, because it wasn't like it was an easy fight. He was in a dog fight, but he started figuring it out. And by round 3, he figured it out. And I that was one of the better. I mean, all the fights were crazy, but that was one of the fights that I liked.
I really enjoyed it, and that was our first finish of the night. We had 8 out of 18, so we're still trending around 50%, 40% with the finishing rate at FightersRep. Man, it's just a brutal rule set, but it's not like it's mismatches, man. These fights were all close until somebody just landed a devastating shot or devastating combo or something. What I wanted to say about Majali, though, I thought in Michael's fight, I thought it was a good fight, a development fight for both of them. They both needed to see the guy that was in front of them. Michael needed a guy like Majali that hit real hard and threw really hard leg kicks and had a lot of power. And Majali needed a guy like Michael who had good boxing and was giving him trouble, kind of to show him that, that's probably something he needs to continue to work on as well. In the gym for the both of them. So another thing I want to say about Majali, man, he's I believe he's like the Camo state champ in MMA now, right? So he fought for us not too long ago. Then he took an MMA fight. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, Gary. He's just like kind of getting started with Muay Thai, and he's just so advanced. I mean, you see him, he looked so good on Saturday night, and it's just his second fight with us. And
I mean, there's power in all of his shots, man. I mean, he's trying to end somebody with everything.
Yeah, and he's got real bad intent. Shout out to his coach John Gaglio, who basically trains him up in the mountains in California, just beats the shit out of him. So,
Rocky style.
Yeah. So I'm expecting a lot of good stuff from both of these guys. But since Majali won, I'm definitely expecting him to continue to surge. And I look forward to seeing where his career goes, man. He looked impressive out there. All right, so let's go on to the next fight. But before we do that, remember, guys, FightersRep 23 and 24 coming at you back-to-back weeks in June. June 1st in South Florida, June 8th in Los Angeles. You might be telling yourself or asking yourself, is George a maniac doing back-to-back weeks? Fights, yes, I'm not all right in the head, and that's why I'm doing it, but I have Gary to help me out, so subscribe and join the channel, and at least, help me out a little bit before I kill myself putting these fights together. Much appreciated, guys. So next up, Gary, this was a and we have Adari Pennant in here. Shout out to you. Yes, we see your message. He says, can you imagine a hybrid cross mix between Terrence Crawford and Jaron Ennis, but has a heavyweight boxer? I'm not sure why we're talking about that, Adari. We're talking about FightersRep 22, but we'll get to that later, or maybe you could let us know what it is you're trying to communicate to us by saying that. But moving on to Aaron Avalos versus Barat Aboud. Now, Gary, this was a fight that was added in the very last week. These are just a couple guys that wanted to compete, and we said, you know what, we got one slot open. Let's throw these boys on the card. They're both relatively green. As you can see, they were both wearing headgear still. So that means they're within their first, their first 3 bouts. But I thought they went out there and I thought they represented well, man. Avalos out of Team Quest, which is Dan Henderson's team. He had, an amazing corner behind him, as did Barat Aboud out of Paragon Santa Barbara. They went out there, they threw down, and Barat came away with the win. And I want to say, he also landed a knockdown in this fight that may have been the difference for him. And they both look good, man. They both look good. It was a close fight, but I think that knockdown is what separated it for Aboud and got him the win.
I agree. The knockdown was what was it? Because I mean, like I said, it's tough scoring some of these fights because they're close.
Yeah,
and guys have had a lot of good moments, but in a three, when you're doing 3 rounds, you get a knockdown. That's huge.
yeah,
and it almost kind of makes the guy put the pressure on the other guy to like, I got to recover from this. I got to steal something. I got to knock him down. Or it's tough, man, because it's only three rounds, but it's 3 rounds full of action, and I thought the fights were close. Yeah. I agree. It was a knockdown. Yeah, it was a knockdown that won that fight.
Yep. And I thought it was interesting. Barat, shout out to him, from the Netherlands, of Syrian descent, walked in with a Palestinian flag, in support of Palestine. And I thought it's pretty cool, the international flavor that we've got at FightersRep. A lot of these fighters from all over.
Wasn't he the one after spoke and said something about Palestine and everything?
Yeah. He wanted to support his Palestinian brothers and sisters. I mean, this is not a political. I'm not a political organization.
Hey, they do whatever they're doing.
I'm not going to get into that, but I do appreciate people being able to speak their mind. You're allowed to do that at FightersRep. And for me personally, I just want peace. I don't want any bloodshed with anyone. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Hey, listen.
Love to everybody.
What people say is that's what they think.
That's it. Yep.
Hey, we're into the fighting. But, but it's cool, though. I mean, whatever. That's whatever you think.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, they use a platform to say what they want, how they feel, and I'm okay with that. It is America, and we are entitled to our free speech. So on to the next fight number 5. And we had, this is another fight I was really excited about, Gary. Alex Stowe out of Vital Force. He just, switched teams not too long ago, versus Chavis Wilson out of Aloha Combat. I thought this was going to be a banger because Alec has never been in a boring fight in his life. This guy's allergic to boring fights. And to me, by the way, you're on mute. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but to me, Chavis Wilson looked like a guy that was down for the shits, especially at weigh-in. So I said to myself, man, these guys are just going to go out there and fight, and that's exactly what they did. This fight lasted 1 round with Alex Stowe, landing a couple beautiful right hands and a nice head kick and getting Wilson out of there. But, while he was in there, while it lasted, I felt like it was a very exciting back and forth affair while it lasted. But it's just one of those things, Gary. Live by the sword, die by the sword in the lion's den, man. That's just the way it is, Maybe in boxing, right, in certain situations, in boxing, I think you can get away with it. But when you start throwing shin bones around, it's a little bit different sometimes. Look, even in boxing, if you just go in there and just throw punches and, put your chin up and just throw punches, you can get taken out. So I think the chances are almost doubled or tripled when you involve kicking and kickboxing. What did you think of this fight? And by the way, congrats to Alex Stowe, man. He'd come off a very close loss in his FightersRep debut, and then he got stopped in the last outing with FightersRep in another exciting fight. It was almost like this, except he got stopped. It was a live by the sword, die by the sword fight, but he got stopped. Here he is turning it around and winning on the same night that his wife fought the co-main event and won the title. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But what did you think of this fight?
I thought Stowe, he started finding his mark. I mean, like, it was a competitive fight, but I felt like Stowe won the first round, even if it wouldn't stop. I felt like he started winning it. He started finding his mark, and that kick to the head was brutal. And I seen some people saying, like, oh, they stop it so quick and everything, but it was inevitable. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just like watching I think the Ford boxing match that he just won the title with. Like they could have stopped it and gave the guy a standing eight count, and it was in the 12th round and everything. Same thing with this fight. I felt like, you know, it was inevitable. He started to land more on the regular. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
was a good fight, but like I said, like I said, even if they got out in the first round, it was still a lot of action, a lot of competitive. It wasn't like one guy was just so far above the other guys. Like you
Right.
said, you land that shot and you get a guy buzzed, and he
Yeah.
stayed on top of it, and he made sure he forced the ref hand or whatever to like just all right, it's over.
Right. Right. And he did get the 8 count first. I mean, he got knocked down. The ref gave him the
Yeah,
8 count. He got back up, and then Stowe was able to get him out of there. And I think, Stowe, the difference in this fight was the experience. Stowe had more experience than Wilson. So shout out to Chavis for taking the fight in the first place, and going out there and going out on his shield. He was ready to keep going. But, I just think that experience was the difference, right? Because Stowe had been in that situation where he came up just short and where he also got into a bit of a brawl and got knocked out. And, he was able to turn the tide, and that's the kind of thing I love to see. So maybe we'll see that next from Chavis doing it to someone else, at some point in the
and
line.
that goes to my point of you even after a fighter loses, hey, you get back in here,
Yeah.
and you're still back in here now. You're on the winning side of that. That
Right.
goes
Right.
to my point.
Gary, especially if they're competitive and they're professional with the way they conduct themselves, and they try to market themselves and sell, that stuff is important to me. At the end of the day, this is a martial art, right? And I treat it as such. We're going to honor, we're going to respect these fighters. If you came out and you performed, even if you came up short, you're going to be welcomed back. I'm the only people that I don't really, I'll be honest with you, people that give me a hard time, I just don't want to deal with them. I don't care how many tickets they sell. I don't care how good they are. If you're out there and you're making it difficult to work with you, we don't want to work with you. But, if you come out, you're a professional, you're a good fighter, you're trying to get better, you're trying to do this and you're serious about it, you 100% have a home at Fighters Rep. So let's move on to the next one. This was another intriguing one. Precious McKinley out of Huntington Beach Fight Club, Milshawn Lathan's team, coached by Johnny Mercurio. Shout out to him. Against Becca Montez out of Rounders MMA. Shout out to Coach Bao. I thought this was going to be a good fight. I thought it was a good fight. But, Precious, who I'd never seen before, we had Becky in the previous Fighters Rep, and she looked good. But Precious, who I hadn't seen before, just kind of, like you said, pulled away as the fight went on. Good speed, good shot selection, very agile, and I was impressed. I was impressed by Precious in this fight for sure.
I thought in this fight the speed was the difference.
Yeah.
I really thought the speed was the difference. And like you said, it was accurate shots too. People discount the accurate part of it. Like you can be throwing shots and you be throwing shots hard, but when you have that placement of them and you can put it where it needs to be,
Yeah.
and along with the speed, I just felt like the speed was the biggest thing watching the fight that I seen in the difference.
Yeah, and she had great dexterity too. I mean, there's like one small highlight on the Instagram that we posted where she threw a roundhouse and then held her leg up and then did a side kick with the same leg, and I mean, you could tell she's definitely been training, and she looked good, and no disrespect to Becky Montez. I mean, she's a good fighter, but like you said, I think just Precious was a little bit too sharp for her on the day, and I look forward to seeing what they both do going forward, and I appreciate them coming out. Next up, Gary, we had Ruben Avila versus Isaac De La Paz. This one was intriguing, bro. This one was intriguing. I want to say, I think Isaac De La Paz is an excellent fighter. He's a guy that I'm always trying to bring back, because he's seasoned, he's tough. He gave Granado his best fight that I've ever seen. He's a dog. But, shout out to Hung, our matchmaker. He saw something in Avila, as did I, in his last fight. Very technical, still young, very technical. And my thought process when this fight was made was, I think he's technical enough to hang in there with De La Paz. Does he have the power to phase De La Paz, right? Because you're going to need it, right? De La Paz, De La Paz with blood and guts with Granado for 3 rounds, so you're going to need it. And, I came away agreeing that, De La Paz probably won that fight, but I thought it was a lot closer than the judges had it. I thought in the first round, I kind of threw my hands up. I didn't know who won that first round. And I think as the fight went on, De La Paz started to pull away just a little bit. But I felt like the only clear round, for me at least, was the third round. I felt like the first round was close. I felt like the second round, it kind of depends on whether you score the punches more or the kicks more. I felt like De La Paz kicks were a little better. But I felt like Avila's boxing was a little better. He was kind of catching between shots. So I was like, man, this is a very good fight from this young prospect. This is a great experience for him. And of course, De La Paz, I mean, it's good for him to get a look like that as well.
I mean, De La Paz keeps the pressure on. He's in for a war. He's prepared for it. So when you get in the ring with him, you have to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think the third round is what sealed it for him. The third round, I thought he had the better third round. But it was a great fight, and it's gonna be a rematch soon. I mean, not soon, but eventually you're gonna have to give them a rematch.
Granado and De La Paz.
No, I'm talking about De La Paz and
Avila.
Yeah. He's gonna want to, but that too, De La Paz, and even though I think I still got Gator on that one.
Yeah, well, I think Gator's
he's fucking amazing.
Yeah. But I think he's moving on to MMA. He's talking about moving on to MMA. So we gotta continue to cultivate this. These next guys as well. But and I would love to see that rematch, De La Paz versus Granado. But I do see Avila and De La Paz fighting again at some point in the future. I think Avila, maybe needs another fight or two to really continue to improve and build that confidence. But I thought he looked good, man. I thought he belonged. He showed that, despite the experience disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
Because he had an experience disadvantage in there. He's the younger, less experienced guy. I thought he really held his own and did well. And De La Paz, we know what we get with him, always comes out, always performs, always looks great. And I look forward to working with both these kids, man, seeing where they go,
Yeah.
All right. So on to the next. We had Mariano Corona taking on Gustavo Tivo Flores. The crowd definitely got into this one. I knew what to expect in this fight. I knew this fight was going to be, a bang them up, drag them out kind of fight. Mariano always, he goes in there, heart of a warrior, winging punches, trying to knock you out. And Tivo, tends to be a bit more technical, but he can be aggressive and nasty, as you saw in the end of that fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he saw a little bit of a chink in the armor with the leg kicks and just went ham on the leg kicks and got Mariano out of there in the third and final round. But again, great fight, man. The first round and a half, 2 rounds were competitive. It was fun. It was Mariano throwing these big punches and Tivo just kind of hitting him with more technical, compact, 1-2s and a lot of leg kicks. And it just proved to wear him out at the end of the day.
I think I told you already that the kid Tivo, I think he's going to be one of my favorite fighters out of FightersRep because he just has that mean streak in him.
Yeah,
and I'm going to go to football because that's what I know. He's like a little Steve Smith. I don't know if you know Steve Smith, the wide receiver. Like he's just angry. He fights his own teammates. He just seems like And I felt bad for you got to help me out with the names. Mariano. Because you seen the kicks as it went along, like he was not liking that, bro. He was not like, and at the end, it was just like what it was like 4 straight kicks to his leg, and he tried to get up and keep fighting. I was like, no, stay down. It was almost like the Rocky thing, like it reminds me of listen. It reminds me of Van Damme and what is it? Kickboxing?
Lionheart, was it Lionheart or something?
No, not Lionheart. When he was kicking, they had Tom Poe kicking the concrete. Oh my god, man! That brought back memories of that. Like Van Damme, like kicking. I mean, it was just he was just out to seek and destroy, no mercy. I felt bad, but it was a great. I want to see him whenever he fights. I want to see him, and I want to see him seek and destroy whoever it is.
And his fans are hilarious, man. He had like all these dudes drinking beer, screaming TiVo ringside.
Yeah,
they were holding up a shirt that said in Spanish, "Break his mom." That's what it said on the shirt. So I was just.
He seems like that dude. He seems like I'm gonna break your mom, dude. That's a good. He needs to have a shirt. Next time, this idea, Tebow. Next time you come out, break your mom. That's a shirt you need. That dude is vicious, man.
He's got it. By the way, Isaac's saying I didn't see round 1, but I thought Avila round 1, round 2, and 3. Talking about the Avila versus De La Paz fight. He says I'm upset that my boy Aram had to pull out from that fight because man, it would have been a good one. But that was a great fight with Mariano stepping up late notice. And shout out to Mariano. He did step up late notice for that fight. But yeah, TiVo, man. TiVo is just a little demon, man. Like you get in there with him, man, it's gonna be you're gonna feel it in the morning for sure.
Yeah.
Next up, Michael Claycomb versus Braden Tamazaki. The battle of traditional martial artists, with Claycomb being the Shotokan practitioner coming off the loss against Milshawn Lathan at his last Lions Den appearance, taking on Braden Tamazaki, Kung Fu practitioner from, I want to say somewhere up in Northern California, coming down, making a ride into hostile territory, and coming away with the win in a fight where, I was a little bit, I was expecting more activity, right? Especially from Claycomb's side. I just, that's what I noticed sitting ringside. I just felt like he was doing too much analyzing and just wasn't going after it. And Braden took advantage of that and just went after it. And I think he just won the fight on activity. Really, I mean, he just won the fight on activity. It wasn't too many clean shots landed in this fight. But, just Braden just coming forward and attacking, comes away with the win.
Well, I think Michael, and, we had him on here and everything, he's a great guy. I think that he probably was, so much in his head. He had some losses, and with fighting Milshawn, 2 quick losses. Yeah. So I think he's probably been working more on his defense, being more strategical, not getting caught with that shot. And I think that's what ultimately kind of hurt him, because you can overcompensate sometimes because of, past fights and things. And that's all I think that happened. I would have liked him to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit take the lead, a little bit be first. And, and not worry so much about, am I going to get caught with that shot? You know what I mean? Yeah. You just got to let it go sometimes, man. And I get it. You got caught with some shots a couple times, but if you got to, I don't know. Like I said, only thing I can relate it to is football. They always told you I was a defensive back to, forget the last play. You can't live on the last play. You live on the last play, you got to forget it. It happened.
Baseball, same with everything, man. You kind of just got to move on, because if you sit there and you dwell on it, it will come back to haunt you. McCary says, I think once Claycomb gets past those jitters and just commits to his shots, he can be a force. I would have to agree. I think if he would have come out aggressive in this fight and committed to his shots, intelligent aggression, he would have had a lot more success. And I'm a kickboxing promoter, right? So for me, I appreciate the karate style, and I think it's done wonders for his footwork and for his kicks and everything else like that. But if you see Braden, he's a kung fu guy and he's fighting like this, man. He's fighting like a kickboxer. I think Michael kind of needs to take that step, in my opinion, right? Fight like a kickboxer, but use what karate gave him, and kind of fight for the rule set. You know what I mean? Fight for the rule set.
I think his strength is his kicks, his legs.
Yeah.
But he has to develop the hands more.
Yeah.
Just because when guys get in close combat, the kicks become a little bit nullified.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And you have to, for that style, you have to kind of have a distance. And when guys get up on him, I just see that makes him uncomfortable when they're close up on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think, with time, he'll hopefully, alter his style a little bit more to the kickboxing rule set, because Braden definitely did. You could see Braden, you could see some of the techniques from traditional martial arts in Braden's style, but he was still, like this. He was coming forward. He was very aggressive. He understood that you got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes, bro. Like you can't really pot shot your way to a win if the other guy's flurrying at you.
Yeah.
So,
and that's my thing is with your rule set, not to cut you off, is 2 minutes puts a more motivation in. You got to get it done.
Yeah.
Like the 2 minutes, I think that's great because it makes them for more exciting fights, because you don't have long. You got to make the impression and you got to get out of it.
Get after it.
You got to get after it.
Yeah. Isaac McCary says, from watching him fight live now, I think he just overthinks and waits too long. And, I guess it happens especially in the amateur game, coming off a loss here and there. But, I just think he's very talented. He's fast. He hits hard. He's got a hell of a chin. And, I just want to see him continue to improve. And I look forward to seeing Braden again, too. I mean, Braden looked good to me, man. He had good movement. I felt like he was small for the weight class, though. I feel like he could probably drop a weight class. He carried a lot of muscle. I feel like he could probably drop a weight class or even two and be very effective. And that's another thing. You got to play that game. You got to play that weight class game. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of these traditional guys don't really want to do it. I think even Claycomb can drop a weight class. I mean, when you see him against Milshawn and the guys he's fought, they're way bigger than him. They're way bigger than him. So I think Braden and Michael could probably drop a weight class or two. And but we'll see. We'll see what they do. It was a good performance. I thought it was a fun fight to watch. And I look forward to seeing them both back in the lines then soon. So next up, fight number 10, we had Jimmy Truesdale out of AR Muay Thai taking on Tony Kath out of Team Oyama. Man, this was a fun fight for sure. I just felt like, Tony just more activity. That's what kind of won him this fight. He was just landing more. He was just throwing more. But it was technical. This was a technical fight. Both guys looked pretty good in there.
I think Tony probably landed the more effective, cleaner shots. I think that's what gave him the edge. I mean, both guys were. It was a competitive, it was. I know I done said a competitive fight 100 times.
Yeah,
but that's what the night was, and that's why I was really impressed by all the fights, because they were really good fights. And I just think, you got to score it from who landed the cleaner, more effective shots. And I just think he landed, not by a lot, but he was just more effective shots. You can tell the effect it had on his opponent. And so, I agree.
Yeah. No, I agree. I thought both guys looked good. I'd love to see them both back in here. back in the Lions Den. But yeah, Tony, and I think Tony had the experience advantage in this fight as well. So obviously that's going to help you. But both guys look good. Tony just was a little bit better on the night and look good, man. Look good. Shout out to Tony and shout out to Jimmy, man. Both of you guys look great. So, Gary, that brings us to our first title fight of the evening. Marvelous. I love the nickname, by the way. I got to say, Marvelous Milshawn Lathan taking on Dylan the Butcher Ludwig. Interesting fight. I want to say this was Ludwig's first time at 159 pounds, fighting at 159 pounds. And boy, did he pick a tough opponent with just 2 weeks' notice. That's a tall task, both literally and figuratively. I mean, I do think while it lasted right, Dylan was in there and giving his best and landed some shots, but Milshawn, man, Milshawn is just a terrifying mix of explosiveness and power and height and length and speed and balls and whatever you want and charisma and confidence. I mean, I want to say Milshawn's confidence right now, bro. I think soon as that Fighters Rep belt went around his waist, you can't tell him nothing, Gary. You can't tell this guy nothing no more, bro. He's marvelous, and he looked every bit of marvelous in there, man. He looked exceptional in there. And to get the Butcher out of there in a minute and 5 seconds or something like that in the first round, and Butcher's no joke, man. Butcher's no joke, bro. Butcher can beat anyone on any given night. To get him out of there like that, throwing that right hand down the middle and then following it up with that flying knee like a damn ninja, bro. I said, nah, bro, this guy's different. This guy's
you know what? When I think of Milshawn, I think of long, rangy with power. You know what I mean? He's long, he's rangy, his power. And the crazy thing is, a lot of times when people are long and rangy like that, you don't see the explosiveness that you see out of the smaller fighters explode like a Mike Tyson, like a Tank, or like a Rampage, or compact guys. You know what I mean? Guys who are compact and they just explode and they can, deliver those punches. But I think his come from the length. Like I don't know how to explain it, but that right hand of his, that's Deontay Wilder like.
Yeah, it is, bro. Yeah,
hey, he's getting people out of there.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
He's making.
Well, you know what? That wasn't. I mean, first couple fights, it wasn't like that, bro. It wasn't like that. I just think it's a confidence thing too, and fighting without headgear. Maybe that's a lot freed him up a bit. Maybe it's I don't know because
go ahead. Oh, I still think a defense can be tightened up a little bit more because when he sees the kill, he's going for it. If you show him that, you don't like that, huh? Like he's going at you and he's going, but
Dylan landed a couple shots in there.
That's why I say the defense can get a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna ain't nobody got the perfect chin. Yeah. You're gonna get caught with something and bust.
Yeah.
But I mean, with him, you gotta catch him.
But you could hear that right hand land when it lands. It lands hard. And he just
every time it lands.
Bro, he has the ability to close. He's so bouncy, right? If you see him coming out during the introduction, he's, me and you, we're from Miami, Gary. When we see bouncing like that, we're like, oh, this guy's faster. He can run or jump high or something. You know what I mean? So this dude just comes out bouncing the whole time from the time he comes on the stage till he's down going down the stairs, and he's just dancing and feeling himself. And now he's got this belt around him after that win against Claycomb. And I just think, and he's got a great, great team behind him, bro. It's Johnny Mercurio. It's Chris Law. And they're all big, long, lanky guys too. They're big guys, and they're experienced guys, and they're good guys. And then he's got a couple teammates that are shorter than him and compact. And so, he's seeing he's probably seeing everything, and it's just, man, I don't know. I was really, really impressed by. I thought I was knockout of the night. I was really impressed by him.
Every time I've seen him, he's gotten better.
Yeah.
Like, he's gotten better. He's gotten more precise with his shots. He's gotten more. I haven't seen all of his fights, but I've seen 3 of them now. I think 3 or 4 of them now, and I just think that he's getting more. The first fight I seen, he would get lost in the fight and get a little wild a little bit. He's getting more like he's knowing the distance. He's knowing, he's finding it, and it's like, he's more composed even when it's
He's not worried about getting hit. He doesn't care about getting hit. I mean, it's a dangerous guy. He doesn't care about getting hit.
He has faith in that hand, boy.
Yeah. He's understanding that distance. Like you said, I noticed a little smirk on his face, right, in this fight. There was a time where Dylan blitzed him, and he just kind of circled it and backed away. I think that's probably what you're talking about. And he just kind of smirked like, man, you can't reach me from there, bro. and then he just went after Dylan. And I said to myself, man, this guy, not afraid, can close distance probably faster than anyone, anyone that we saw. He was just closing the distance. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. My daughter's around here sneaking around the corner.
I'm going to say, big right hand, closing the distance super fast, just long, especially for the weight class. I mean, the guy's tall, man. So impressive performance by him. And, Dylan taking the fight on 2 weeks' notice. We're going to have Dylan back too, man. Dylan, I do think Dylan at some point is going to probably capture a title. He's super talented. But taking this fight at 2 weeks' notice, being the smaller guy, never fought at 159 pounds, it's an uphill battle for sure.
I mean, yeah, no, it's everything you said, I agree with. I mean, I was super impressed. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Yeah. So anyway, on to the next. I want to talk about the next title fight, which was the Death Dealer Marquez taking on the Heartbreak Kid, Ralph Sanchez. I was very excited for this fight too. They had fought in the past at FightersRep. Ralph got the nod on that one. I know the Death Dealer wanted that fight back. I know he wanted that win back. And it was a good fight. It was a good fight while it lasted. But I just feel like David Marquez is a very, very difficult opponent because he's got the speed, he's got the power, he's got the agility, he's got the movement, he's got it all. He's not afraid, he's got a chin, he's got good technique. Like, he's one of the most complete dudes we got, and it's going to be hard. And then the confidence he got in that last title fight when he put on one of the best performances of his life against Mariano Corona, it's going to be hard to beat this guy, Gary. It's going to be very hard to beat this guy, bro.
I didn't see the first fight between these two, but he made sure that he made up for whatever happened in that first fight. This fight, I told you on the phone, I'm like, yeah, and it's certain names that I don't remember everybody's name. It's certain names that I'm like, oh, he's fighting. Oh, yeah. Okay. Like, Death Dealer is one of those names. Like, Marquez. Like, I told you on the phone, I'm like, yeah, I like that kid. He's again, like Milshon, he gets better and better every fight, and he adapts. And it shows. If he lost the first fight, I didn't see the first fight, so I can't really speak on that one. But I saw this fight, and whatever he learned, whatever he went back into the lab and fixed, he was on one.
Yeah, he got the finish too. I mean, he got the finish. Yeah. He put that stamp on it. So, I mean, Ralph's a great fighter. So that was very impressive. This is the second person he finishes that's, the number one, basically the number one or around the number one contender in his division. And we're going to see what we do for him next. Of course, we got Isaac McCary saying, I'll fight Death Dealer next, no problem, whoever energy. But we'll see, man.
I like that, though. I like that.
Isaac and his team don't give a shit. They'll fight anyone, anytime. So I appreciate that very much. So we'll see what happens, man. But geez, man, I mean, Death Dealer just looking super impressive. And another guy who, as soon as we put that belt on him, just transformed into something different.
Yeah.
So up next, right, we had Ty Petralia taking on Hamza Trad, our welterweight champ. This was, Hamza's just a tough out, man. And shout out to Ty. He took this fight against Hamza, with less experience. Just another guy from, McCary's gym over there in Las Vegas, Syndicate and Paradox. And, stepped up to fight Hamza when most people won't. Hamza is 5-0 now in kickboxing. And I want to say he's 9-1 or something like that in MMA. He's the Camel State champ in MMA, and just hasn't lost in kickboxing. And you see him, man. The guy's not only technical and fast and powerful. I mean, he's all over but he's the other really athletic specimen. I mean, it's between him and Milshawn and Death Dealer. I mean, they're so complete. They're athletic. They're fast. They hit hard. This kid's crazy, and this kid's technique is off the charts, Gary. And Ty, I will give Ty credit. He was in there for a couple rounds. He did some good work. I think he got some great experience out of this. I felt like
there's too much for him.
Yeah. I felt like had he been able to maybe take it into the championship rounds, his chances would have bettered, because Hamza uses a lot of energy. He uses a lot of energy in those first few rounds, but was just able to land some good shots and get Ty out of there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm this is my first fight seeing him. Haven't seen him any other time, but I would like to see more. He looks like the real deal. Like I said, you had a lot of explosive talent, very good talent. I think I'm not trying to promote it or nothing. I think if you were trying to sell people on this would be the FightersRep card that everybody needs to see.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you see the talent level. And I know you just did Florida, and Florida was good. I'm not gonna lie, for the first event it was good. But this one was the one I think and yeah, man. I just felt like it was too much. It was too much for Ty. Yeah. But I mean, he'll bounce back. He'll learn, and he'll get something else.
Yeah. That dude Trod is a special talent, says Isaac. Dude literally should have been pro before this fight. Shout out to Ty for stepping up, and it looks like he does want to turn pro next.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Isaac is saying Ty said that dude hit way harder than he looks. And part of the strategy, when I got to talk to Ty in the corner between 2 and 3, I told him he's gassing using all that energy. And I think that's the only way. Try to survive Trod's onslaught for a few rounds, take him to deep water and see what you can do. You know what I mean? But yeah, shout out to Trod, man. It looks like he's saying he wants to go pro after that fight. So if he does, it was such a pleasure working with him as an amateur. Maybe at some point he could fight with us as a pro. He's probably going to pursue MMA as well. And, I want to say he had his first few fights as an amateur with us. So this is another guy, man. I mean, him, Gator, Death Dealer, Milshawn, maybe De La Paz. I mean, who knows?
De La Paz, you got to add him to that list.
Yeah. Who knows how many of these kids are gonna go on to be, big names, big hitters. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that was a great performance by Hamza Trad. Congrats to him. Next up, we have the co-main event of the evening, Gary. Connie Gonzalez taking on Nancy Tran for the first ever FightersRep female featherweight title. 5 rounds with Rampage Jackson at ringside, sitting right next to me. I'm not sure if you noticed that. And
I seen your big head against his.
Yup. Mine was. I want to say I might got him, which is unfortunate for me and my genetics and those of my offspring. And Isaac McCary says, got to add free smoke to that list, George. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But great fight, man. I didn't think it was the most technical fight. I'm going to be honest with you. But I think what happened was they started landing punches on each other. And they said, one said, I'm that chick. And the other one said, no, I'm that chick. And then they just started banging each other out for 5 rounds. And, they were trying to kill each other for 5 rounds. And the crowd was very into it. And I think people enjoyed it. And congratulations to Connie Gonzalez, who, wins the title against a very tough Nancy Tran in a very good fight.
I mean, I don't know. The last 2 shows, the women been stealing it, ain't they?
Oh, man, I know.
The women been going at it, and it don't always.
And they're not pulling out.
Even
they're not pulling out for goofy reasons, neither.
I mean, like, it doesn't always have to be a technical fight to be a good fight.
Yeah,
I'm a technical guy. I like being technical, but sometimes you get in a dog fight and you just say F it. One person says F it, the other person says F it. Oh, you want it like this? Well, let's go get it like this.
They have an agreement. They have an agreement.
Yeah. It's hey, we just go at it, and sometimes those be the best fights. Yeah. And I thought it was it's 5 rounds, so it starts getting a little sloppy towards the end because you're gassing. That's a lot of work. But they went at it, and I thought it was a close fight. In my opinion, I thought it was a close fight. Thought it could have went either way. Mm-hmm. They were going at it, and those fights are kind of tough to score just because you got 2 people that just say F it.
Well, so Connie did. I think Connie got a standing 8 at some point, so I think that's what won her the fight.
At what round? I can't remember that one.
I don't remember. I just I remember is them punching each other nonstop, and then one standing 8 count at some point.
Trying to think of when the standing 8 was. Maybe that's why. Because I remember the fight. It was a close fight the whole time, and they were going at it. I don't remember a standing 8, but maybe I missed it. Maybe I forgot it.
So anyway, congrats to Connie becoming the first ever Fighters Rep female champ, and shout out to Nancy for putting on a hell of a performance, flying all the way out from Virginia to take this fight. Man, we really appreciate her. And the fight we had in Florida, Alexis versus Barbara, man, both in the same weight class. I would love to see these girls fight each other. I mean, I think Alexis and Connie would be wow, man. And Alexis, is a dog too and very technical, as is Barbara. And I think that would be, I think it would be a fun fight. Get them all 4-woman tournament and just have them go at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Would be.
That's one thing I know about the women. They'll be ready to go at it and just say, let's just go.
Yeah. On to the next, which is the main event of the evening. We had Jason the Gator Granado, right, who wanted to be announced second. Look at this guy now, bro. This guy's getting a little out of control, Gary. He's getting a little out of control. Shout out to the champ, Jason Granado. He wanted to be announced second. I appreciate it. Taking on Grant Perkins out of Las Vegas. And this fight became very interesting, very fast. I liked this fight for Jason, especially his development, because I said to myself, okay, he's switching opponents. He was supposed to fight Rodriguez, and he is now fighting a guy instead of a short, strong boxer in Sergio. Boxing heavy boxer and kickboxer and Sergio. He's now fighting a guy who's like taller than him, right? Ever so slightly, but taller than him. Tough kid out of Vegas, unknown. You don't know who he is. You don't know what to expect. And that's good. That's a good look. That's a good look, man. That's something that Granado hasn't seen much of. Guys taller than him, that's a real rarity. And man, did Grant make it a fight? I mean, he was not worried about getting hit. He was getting caught flush and just eating the shots. He was eating the shots to the body and still coming and smiling at Jason. He got at one point his mouthpiece got knocked out, Gary, and the referee couldn't put it in until there was a lull in the action. And he was there fighting with Jason. And Jason's not used to people lasting that long. I wanted to say it lasted into the 4th round, which is the furthest that Granado has gone in the Lions Den. I think he had a decision win in a Muay Thai fight, but Muay Thai, they can hold and stall and hug you the whole time. Not in the Lions Den, man, and nobody's really been out of that 3rd round before with him. Remember, he finished De La Paz in round 3.
Yeah.
So for this guy to go 4 rounds with him, you got to give him a lot of credit. Shout out to Grant, man. He really impressed me. And shout out to the Gator, man. He really impressed me too, because, this was something he hadn't seen before. A guy who was just a zombie, just would not go away, had a super, super chin, was fighting him back, was hitting him with some good shots too. He just wasn't going to go away. And I think it's a great thing, right, in your career to fight somebody. First off, for Grant, to fight somebody who hits that hard and is that good. And second off, for Granado, to fight somebody who's, also good, but is not going to get knocked
going
out.
away.
It's not knocking that guy out. You know what I mean?
He's
that
not
guy,
going away.
Yeah, he's just built different. You're not knocking that kid out. So it was good to see, his reaction. And then the cherry on top, Gary, the Gator vomits on my ring afterwards. You believe this guy?
Yeah.
I got to take an intermission to get the ring cleaned off.
Oh.
You got to pay me for that ring, Gator. But
hey, that's when he was in a fight. He was getting wore down a little bit.
Yeah, he was exerting himself really hard, and I heard he ate like too much or whatever. But still, great fight. I thought he looked great. I thought Grant looked good. And I thought it was a valuable experience, and he still, they stopped the fight because the doctor, I believe he thought Grant was concussed, which I'm okay with that stoppage. I'm really okay. I don't want to see anyone get too hurt. We want to come back to live to fight another day. But my goodness, I mean, how hard is the Gator hitting that? Even if he doesn't get you out of there, he's concussing people and harming people physically to the point where the doctor has to step in.
I'm no doctor. I felt he could have went longer. I would have, and it's frustrating because that fight was good. Grant, for somebody to put that much heart into it and not, and battle it out like that, for him to be stopped like that, I know that sucks for him. Because you're like he didn't knock me down. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And as a fighter, it's just I'm okay. I can still go.
Yeah.
And he was going. I still think he probably would have lost the fight. Still, in my opinion, not got knocked out or anything, but just on the scorecards or whatever.
Yeah.
He was game. He was game to go in there. Sometimes,
Boy, was he.
But Gator's just he's just so fast and so skilled and just, I mean, honestly, I think you said he's going to move on to something, I'm going to hate not being able to.
I think he wants to do the second boringest combat sport on earth, which is MMA. The only one more boring is jiu-jitsu or combat jiu-jitsu. But apparently he wants to do MMA. So, I get
it.
I told him, get ready to get humped for 3 rounds because they're just going to hunt you for 3 rounds.
Yeah, because, with his skill set and as he gets better and better, they're going to want to take him down. They're going to take him down. They're going to want to, all this standing up that you get and not clinching and everything, you ain't getting that there. Yeah. They're not going to sit there and trade with a guy as sharp as you, fast as you, talented as you, because he's very talented. I mean, honestly, I'm not taking nothing away from any of the other fighters. I think he's probably the most talented one.
Wow.
That I've seen. Yeah, I mean, and I haven't seen all your fighters. You've seen most of them, so you could tell me.
Hamza Marquez, Milshawn, there's a few there.
I get Milshawn and Marquez.
You like him better than all of them?
Yeah, I do.
Wow. Okay.
I'm a Gator fan, and that's coming from an FSU fan.
Funny Florida joke there. Funny Florida.
Yeah. I don't like the Gainesville Gators, but I like Gator. Yeah. But I mean, it was a good fight though. It wasn't like he blew him out. anything like that. It was dude came to fight. Grant, he came to fight. I like to see him again,
Yeah,
and I
for
see
sure.
I see good things for him in the future.
Yeah, we definitely got to see Grant again, and I hope we see Gator again, but it sounds like they just want to bore people to death. So good luck at MMA if that's where you're going, Gator. We love you, and once you make the big money, remember to send me a new ring cover because you puked all over my ring cover. Okay, next up, this is the post limbs. Now we had Taylor Fox coming up from the arena. Shout out to him versus Mark Reels out of basically Systems with Coach Rafael Monster as his coach. I want to preface this by saying, and I said shout out to Taylor Fox because, his opponent was overweight and he still took the fight. And I got a lot of respect for somebody that does that. I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 pounds overweight. And he still took the fight. Now, Reels, obviously, this was an amateur fight. These guys don't have a lot of amateur experience. And, they're still trying to figure themselves out with the weight cut. But, I would hope going forward that, these guys try out a weight cut and see what's realistic for them before signing up for a fight. That being said, it was a fun fight. Both guys were very intense. At the weigh-in, you can tell they were very intense. They wanted to go. I said, man, this is going to be an exciting one. They've both been, marketing themselves pretty good. I really appreciated how much they were posting about the fight. I appreciated the stuff Fox was posting, especially because he was really posting a lot about the fight. And, I was excited to work with Reels. We were supposed to work with him in the past couple times. The fights fell through or whatever happened. People pulled out on him or whatever it was. But it finally went through. And was a great fight, man. This was a banger. And, I just felt like Reels was just a step ahead in this fight and landed better shots and was better, at controlling the distance and looked sharp at times, man. Looked sharp. You could tell he's been training hard and showed good defense, showed good head movement. And Fox looked pretty good too, but I just think Reels was landing the more effective shots and, got the dub on this one, Gary.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm trying to remember the fight. I don't really remember the fight.
Yeah.
So this particular one, I'm trying to think. I have to look at it. So many names, them by heart. I'm trying to think of.
I hear you.
I don't really remember it. I mean, I got to go back. Sorry, I apologize. Sorry.
There's a lot of fights on the card.
I'm looking at a lot of things, and I'm like, I told George I should have wrote this thing down on a piece of paper as I was watching. It's tough, man.
No, it was a lot of fights on the card, and I understand, but good fight. These guys were very intense at weigh-in, probably the most intense of everybody, and very confident. The both of them going in, even though they didn't have a lot of experience, but you could tell they were very confident. They were prepared, and good fight. But just Reels was just one step ahead in this one. I was able to pull away with the win. That being said, I would love to see both of them back. They both seem to have talent. They're both physical specimens at 148 pounds, especially. And, I'd love to see them both come back. Next up, we had Anthony Castaneda from Classic Fight Team taking on Ismail Bear out of Hardworks Fitness, the 4th Street location. This was a fun fight too. But man, Castaneda just beautiful boxing. I just, that's what really stuck out to me in this fight. Castaneda's boxing, going in there and getting the finish. Some people thought the fight was stopped prematurely because when you look at the clip on Instagram, he's just kind of landing a right hand and backing up and the referee stopping the fight. But he had already had the 8 count against Castaneda in the fight. So, the referee was probably just trying to save, rather Bear. He already had the knockdown against Bear in the fight. And the referee was probably just trying to save Bear some damage because Castaneda was definitely getting in there and doing some damage. So good win for him, and he looked good.
I mean, I did. I'm thinking of a correct fight. I did think that I was like, oh, they stopped it.
Yeah.
But I do get what you're saying also. I was like, well, he was down, and it was kind of clear that, it may
It was
seem like a
heading in
bad.
that direction. It was heading in that
Yeah, it was
direction.
going in that direction. That was going in that direction. That wasn't gonna be,
Yeah.
a long fight.
Yeah. 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 So shout out to Castaneda. Hope to see him again. Hope to see Bear again too. Go back, hit the drawing board, improve, and we'll see you back in there in the Lions Den, hopefully in June. Then we had the final fight of the night, Gary. This one was an interesting one. Two very tall, 179 pounders. I want to say they were both at least my height or bigger than me, even, Gary. Tariq Wright and Ramsey Glover. And what a great fight, man. What a great fight. Tariq out of Nomad Thai Boxing, and Ramsey Glover out of Rounders MMA. We had Ramsey at the last Fighters Rep, was able to use his length and look really good and technical in that fight. But Tariq was just as big as him, right? And so this was an exciting fight, man. Both of these guys, the physical gifts are there. You could tell they're still very green. They're still very early on in their career. But the physical gifts and the desire is there. They did exhibit some nice technique. And you could tell that as they continue to do this, these guys have a lot of potential. I thought it was a really good fight while it lasted. Tariq was able to get the standing 8 at one point. And I think that's what sealed the deal for him. But it was a very competitive fight.
On this fight, it was the tail end of it. So I was kind of in and out of the fight. I did see the standing 8. But I didn't see all of it. But those were two large human beings.
Yeah, they were. They were.
And they were. Yeah. So I want to see the whole thing to really give a good analysis. I did see, like, I was in and out. I was moving around, so I didn't get to see, like, towards the edge. As you can see, towards the end, I started doing little things here and there.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get to see all of the fight, but I did see. I was like, damn, these some big ass dudes.
Yeah. They were going at it, man. They were going at it.
Yeah.
They were banging on each other, man. It was a good fight, and I look forward to seeing both of them, man. They both showed some good talent and some decent technique for guys that are still very green in their career. But
how many fights is it for them?
What was that now?
How many fights is it for them?
I'll tell you right now. I want to say, I mean, they're still in the headgear. So, I want to say Ramsey only had maybe one fight before this. Yeah, I mean, it was Tariq's like first real amateur fight, I think. I think he'd had a couple of smokers.
Oh, yeah.
He had a couple smokers, but that's like hard sparring in the gym against another guy. I mean, it's not really great experience compared to what you're getting in the Lions Den. And then and I want to say Glover was maybe 1-1.
Okay.
Or maybe he's 1-1 or 1-0. So I mean they had very, very limited experience. And I thought they looked good considering the amount of experience that they had, But that's pretty much the whole card, man. That thing was crazy, Gary. It was a huge crowd there. Shout out to the Commerce Casino for hosting us. Shout out to everyone who came out. It was a really, really big crowd. A lot of people came out to watch these fighters fight. Shout out to the fighters. Thank you guys so much for stepping up and training and trusting me and trusting the promotion to, hopefully build you a good career in the fight game. Shout out to the coaches. Man, these guys, they work very hard. Sometimes they're very selfless. They're not even collecting money from some of these guys because, some of these guys can't really afford to pay for big-time coaches like the ones we work with. So sometimes these guys, just help out fighters. Shout out to all the gyms and all the fans and everyone that participated. And Knucklehead Nation, we can't do this without you. That's why I asked, get yourself merchandise or join the channel. It's just $9.99 a month. Help me to continue to build this thing. I don't have any sponsors. Nobody likes me except for my kids sometimes. And Gary, even though nobody likes me and I don't have any sponsors, 2024 Promoter of the Year, Big Dog, awarded by the most dangerous woman on the planet, Frida the Cheetah Gibbs. One of the great
I
female
seen that.
champions.
You didn't
And
even tell me you were getting that, bro.
I didn't think it was a possibility with how many people dislike me and how nobody wants to sponsor me. I mean, listen, I'm so disliked, right? That Monster Energy would rather sponsor Power Slap than sponsor Fighters Rep. Do you believe this, Gary? Do you believe this? Power Slap, bro.
Hey, your day coming. Your day coming. Your day coming.
Power Slap.
It's coming.
Bro, I'm not better.
I don't get that. I'll be honest with you. I do not get that sport at all. I do not. Like that's just
Gary,
who signs up for that?
Gary, you won't let me just slap you, Gary.
That is something literally no. Real talk, George. Real talk. That is something that I did as a kid and realized that was stupid. Not slapping though. I'm talking about punching. Like you hit me and then I hit you into whoever gives up first. Dumbest thing I ever did.
No, bro. As long as, and I'm saying it right into this camera, as long as Monster Energy is sponsoring Power Slap and not Fighters Rep, where I have actual martial artists and kickboxers competing and trying to do something in fight sports, in combat sports, and make something of themselves, as long as that's the case, I'm a complete loser and I'm a failure. I'm a loser and I'm a failure. That's just how I feel, bro.
You can't look at it. It's no time coming. Time coming. If they can build up people slapping each other in the face,
bro. Are you telling me that's more entertaining than Fighters Rep kickboxing, bro? People slapping the shit out of each other and getting CTE.
Hey.
Help me out, Gary. What am I doing wrong, bro? What am I doing wrong?
Hey, whatever for a knockout. People like knockouts.
we're at almost 50% stoppage. You've seen it.
Yeah.
So fine, not Monster, but send me a Red Bull, send me a Celsius, send me something, bro. Jeez, Coca. Yeah, I'll take a Diet Coke at this point, man. Hook your boy up. But anyway, Gary, fantastic event. I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of all the fighters. If there's anything more that I wish I can get more sponsors and more money so I can do more for these guys, reach out to them, guys. Buy their merchandise. Make them work. Tell them, hey, I want a shirt from you. I'll pay for it. Reach out to them. Reach out to me if you're a business owner. You want a tax write-off. It's a tax write-off. You're advertising on their shorts, on our apron, on our canvas, on our posters, on their shirts. Help these guys out. Cameron Spencer right now, our 185-pound champ, Gary, I gave him a little gift, because he's going to go represent the United States at Muay Thai Nationals in Delaware. So I said, man, come on, support this guy. I walked him into the ring. I said, support this guy. I don't know if anyone stepped up, but, I put my money where my mouth is and I gave him a little something. And I hope other people will as well, man, because these guys, they're just trying to live a dream, They're not getting up there and slapping the shit out of each other like goofballs. They actually want to be fighters and they want to do something with their life, and I think they should be supported. Anyway, that's my rant for this evening. Do you have any other thoughts? I mean, is there anything else you wanted to say about the event or anything else, Gary?
Nah, man, awesome event. I enjoyed it. Just hey, if you're not signed up to watch it live, because it was a different experience for me watching it live versus going back and just watching the fight. It for me at least. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it was a different experience. It was nice. I want to come there. Hopefully, in June when you do down here, I'm there. I don't have anything. I don't have no kids. Well, I do have a kid birthday in June, but not on that date.
Okay, I was about to say another kid and another birthday. How many kids?
No, actually, I got it mixed up. It's in July, not June. July. I got too many kids.
Okay.
No, but July. Yeah, July.
Well, anyway, you know, we appreciate you, man. And, you know, we're going to keep doing this and grinding. And we'll talk soon, man. We appreciate all of you joining us. Subscribe to the channel. We're out of here. We'll talk soon. Have a good one, Gary. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
All right.